Since the pandemic started, there have been many ideas of what COVID 19 is. Some say it's an engineered virus, others say that it's not real, or that it's just the flu. Well, why do people think COVID is like the flu? If they really are the same, then was all this just because some person didn't want to take a flu shot? Well, let's find out. As mentioned earlier, there are many misconceptions about COVID. I already mentioned some of the conspiracies around it, and that's all well and good. But why do people think that? Today, we are focused on why people would mistake COVID and the flu. Well, for starters, they're both viruses. They cause people to feel sick and have breathing problems. But what else is there besides these facts?
There are many similarities between the two viruses. According to the CDC, both COVID-19 and the flu have very similar signs and symptoms that are shown because of these viruses. Some common symptoms include fever, cough, shortness of breath, runny nose, body aches, and fatigue. On a molecular level, they do enter the body similarly. They both spread when particles containing the virus are released into the air when someone with COVID or the flu talks, coughs, or sneezes. If these particles come into contact with your mouth or nose, the virus can enter your body. Both of these viruses enter your cells by using their spike proteins to attach to a receptor, allowing it to enter your cell. The virus then replicates and eventually overwhelms the body, causing the symptoms that we are all familiar with. The similarities of the viruses don't mean that they are the same. It just means that they share characteristics, but even then, their differences are so profound.
Because of similar symptoms, it may be difficult to tell the difference between viruses. One major difference is the loss of taste and smell. One way to tell the difference is to get tested. While COVID-19 and the flu spread in similar ways, COVID-19 is generally more contagious. According to the American Society of Microbiology, the flu is an 8 single-stranded negative sense virus, whereas COVID has a single-stranded non-segmented positive sense genome. The COVID molecule itself is covered in spike proteins, while the flu contains surface proteins. Due to their different structures, COVID-19 is more contagious and attacks the respiratory system quicker compared to the flu. The lectures also mentioned how, in the early stages of COVID infection, the spike protein binds with an ACE2 receptor to access the cell for replication, translation, and transcription. ACE2 is a key part in RAAS, which regulates cardiac output and arterial pressure, which is expressed in many critical organs such as the lungs, the heart, kidneys, and the brain. While the flu primarily affects the respiratory system, a severe COVID infection can result in multi-organ failures. Also, COVID-19 has been observed to have more super spreading events than the flu, meaning that COVID-19 can quickly and easily spread to more people and result in continual spreading as time progresses.
Based on data provided in 2020, there were 8,786 flu-related deaths in the U.S. In contrast, COVID-related deaths reached over 385,000 people, which is 44 times greater. CDC statistics also state that the incubation time for the flu is 1 to 4 days compared to COVID being 1 to 14 days. The data shows how deadly COVID can affect the human body and the immune system drastically. Another finding is how hospitalization rates should be considered. The flu hospitalization rate is 2% compared to COVID-19 being 19%. Due to this, it is important to know the difference between both viruses. On February 11, 2021, Stephen Keisler, a researcher in the Department of Immunology and Infectious Disease at Harvard-TH, noticed that the sharp drop in flu cases was probably driven by the mask and distancing rather than vaccines. Keisler suggested that wearing masks in the future could be an effective way to control flu outbreaks. This shows that wearing a mask prevents the spread of COVID, but also other dangerous viruses.
So while the world is slowly returning to normal, that doesn't mean we should be letting our guards down. COVID sucks, but so does the flu, even if it's not as bad. Even though the flu is not as deadly as COVID, it should still be taken seriously, and with the use of masks, we can continue to see a decrease in flu cases next year. No one wants to get sick, COVID or not, so let's all do our best to make sure that we are safe. So Let's do our research, stay informed, follow COVID guidelines, and just general prevention procedures. And yeah, thank you for watching and hope you all have a great day.